Hey everyone, if you've got an old, broken laptop charger like this and you're not sure what to do with it or how to reuse it, just bring it out. We're going to recycle it and give it a new life. But before that, make sure to check whether this charger is still working properly, and then we can get started. If you don't see a charging signal going into the battery like this, that's fine. For anyone doing recycling work, just be careful with electrical devices. In this recycling project, I'm going to turn it into a homemade soldering iron. The first step is to reuse this charger as the handle for the soldering iron. The outer plastic shell of the charger is the most valuable part, so I'll remove everything inside and keep only the casing for the next step of the project. To make it easier to attach the soldering tip later, I'll widen the hole on the charger casing, so I'm going to drill it a bit larger. Next, I've got a basket full of old spark plugs. I'll pick one at random to use as the front part of this homemade soldering tool. It'll be fixed to the handle and connected to the custom tip, helping transfer heat to the tip during use. To improve heat transfer, I'll use a short-circuit connection method. The idea here is to let electric current flow directly through the spark plug's metal body, which creates heat right at the source instead of losing energy along the way. With this short piece of wire, I'll connect one end to the threaded tip of the spark plug and the other end to its threaded body. This setup helps concentrate the heat more effectively where it's needed. Here I've got a simple electrical connector block. I'll take out one of the metal terminals inside and reuse it as a linking piece between the threaded tip of the spark plug and the custom soldering tip. The reason is pretty straightforward. The metal terminal conducts electricity and heat well, and its shape makes it easy to secure both parts tightly, helping keep the connection stable during use. The type of wire I'm using in this project has an insulating outer layer, and inside it contains multiple copper strands tightly twisted together. This kind of structure helps the wire stay flexible while still conducting electricity efficiently. With this end of the wire, I'll connect it directly to the ground terminal of the spark plug. This creates a stable return path for the current, helping the circuit work more reliably. To make the next step easier, I'll thread the remaining end of the wire through the hole in the handle. This way, everything stays in place and is ready for the next part of the build. With the remaining end of this wire, I'll attach an alligator clip. This makes it easier to connect and disconnect during use, while still keeping a secure electrical contact. To deal with the waste from discarded AA batteries, I've come up with a practical solution. Reuse the carbon rod inside the battery to make a custom soldering tip. This works well for a few clear reasons. First, the carbon rod can withstand high temperatures without melting like many metals, so it won't deform during use. Second, it doesn't conduct electricity too aggressively, which helps limit excessive current and makes the heating process more controlled. And finally, it heats up steadily and retains heat long enough to be useful, making it a surprisingly suitable material for a simple homemade soldering tip. And it doesn't stop there. I'll also make a simple tool using a short piece of wire, with an alligator clip attached to each end. One end will connect to the negative terminal of the power source, while the other end will attach to the workpiece. The idea is to create a stable electrical path so the current flows smoothly through the material, helping the heating process work more effectively. Next, I've got a small battery and it makes perfect sense to use it as the power source for the whole setup. It can provide a steady supply of electricity, which helps the project run more smoothly and consistently. So that's a success, but to really see how effective it is, Let's take a look at the tests I'm about to run. As long as it can join small metal pieces together without damaging them, that's already a good result. And just like that, something once considered useless gets a second chance to prove its value. It's a reminder that you don't always need expensive tools. Sometimes all it takes is a bit of creativity and a willingness to experiment. If you enjoyed this build, stay tuned because there are plenty more simple ideas like this that we can turn into something surprisingly useful.